So the strangest thing happened this weekend while I was AFK and offline. And that strange thing was the Power Washer Simulator people decided to put on a big public live stream where they had a couple of YouTubers they had a couple of YouTubers literally power wash a wall in order to promote the game. And I'm not gonna name the streamers because some of them are streamers I like quite a bit. But I will say, they are now officially enemies of the Yakovian Empire, and of the Yakovian dog commune, because of their behavior, which is to say, because they've tried to steal viewership from me, the best and only streamer on Twitch. I'm now going to vape loudly into the microphone to establish the tone for the rest of this stream. Now you see, you can tell my audio setup is doing pretty okay, because you couldn't hear me vaping at all. So, playing Power Washer Simulator. And as you all know, for Power Washer Simulator, we need to have some sort of music on. So today I am going to be putting on Twitch safe anime and lo-fi streamer music. If you look that up on Spotify, you'll find that. I'm not gonna say which one it is, and I'm not gonna say the name of the streamer who has included a link in the description of this playlist, because they wanted me to follow their Twitch stream before I was allowed to use their public playlist. And to be perfectly honest, you fucking coward, no, that's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna inject the anime directly into my brain until it stops working, and that's just gonna be what we stream today. And I don't know if this is to prove a point about how I'm the best Power Washer Simulator streamer of all time. I just know that I had to mention that the devs of this game held a live stream event, and they didn't invite me, which is just reprehensible. How dare they avoid inviting a 2-viewer maximum VTuber like me, huh? Anyway, here's lo-fi anime Baka Mitai. Goodness gracious. Where were we last time? Ah, yes, the playground. Dirt Finder. I've got a frankly ridiculous situation on my hands. You see, some of the local children have been coming down with a curious and unsightly form of dermatitis, and a few fretful folk have been putting it down to the conditions of the recreational facilities. It's all nonsense, of course, but we could just humor them and give the whole thing a thorough hose down. I would be most grateful. I think you might be responsible for this one, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think we might, in fact, be responsible for giving the children dermatitis, because we appear to be making them, we're making them play on what I can only charitably describe, as a diarrhea-covered playground. I will say, Baka Mitai is a slow ballad, probably lends itself to the lo-fi treatment better than most songs. Now, there are some songs that I see lo-fi covers of, and I really have to wonder why the fuck they were even made. Like, lo-fi Caramel Dancin' doesn't really make sense to me, because in my mind, the whole point of Caramel Dancin' is that you're listening, because, you know, you want to come on clap your hands with Caramel and her her girls. Now, I distinctly remember this level when this game first came out being kind of a pain in the ass. Because I believe that, like, playground pad down there, I think it used to all be one thing. And because of the way that the dirt cleaning system worked, like, it took a really, really long time for that thing to count as cleaned because you had to get every little tiny bit off of it, or else it wouldn't properly register. Also, this level is looking like the first level where they introduced Lycan. Lycan in this game is one of the more sturdier kinds of gunk. As you can see, I have to focus it for a couple of seconds with the green nozzle. Part of the reason why I tend to use the yellow nozzle for almost everything is because the yellow nozzle by default can blast off Lycan from a pretty good distance. And a lot of levels are actually just fights against Lycan for the beginning of the game. And actually, I just realized I haven't checked. Oh, yeah, not that button. That's the Find Dirt button. I haven't checked how much the next power washer is going to cost. $900, so we could, in theory, upgrade our power washer on this job. This is apparently a lo-fi version of KK Bossa. I'm gonna be honest with you all. I've never been able to get into Animal Crossing. I tried with New Leaf when everyone was getting really, really into New Leaf when it first came out. I followed a lot of people on Tumblr who were really into New Leaf, and I really wanted to get into New Leaf too, because it seemed really pleasant to sort of have this this thing that you could take aside and focus on for a little bit each day and build up a town you were proud of. Like, that really appealed to me. And then I realized that I would have to focus on it a little bit every day over time. And my brain had a moment where it realized that was work. And so when I play Animal Crossing, I want to play Animal Crossing. I want to play it for 7 hours a day, you know, once a month. I don't want to play it for 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week, like the game wants. And so even in the newer generations, like New Leaf and New Horizons, where they're really, really nice about weeds and they're not, you know, they're more concerned when you go missing than angry at you, part of me just can't do it. Because I think about the consequences of not visiting my Animal Crossing town, and I feel so bad. You know, I was also the kid, if I was watching any violent TV or anything, I'd have to turn my stuffed animals away because I was assuming they were getting traumatized. Now, of course, now that I'm all grown up and fanned across all 7 dimensions of perceptible space, I know that all stuffed animals are alive and filled with hate. You should kill your teddy bear, in fact, because it wants to kill you, and it won't take nearly as long to throw you away when it's done with you. You don't have to get rid of the teddy bear, but you do have to destroy it. It's the only way. So anyway, yeah, the introduction of Lycan in this level, at least with the light duty power washer, kind of makes the green nozzle irrelevant. And that's partially... Alright, I guess we're going right into another KK Slider song. I'm not very good at distinguishing whether a surface has dirt and Lycan or just dirt. And there's no reason for me to do a first pass with the light duty pressure washer in my mind. And a lot of the time, you know, I'll get onto a surface that doesn't have anything that requires high pressure, and I'll just keep cleaning it with high pressure anyway, because I have a lot of trouble where I'll have little tiny itty bits of dirt left over after a job that I haven't gotten because, like, you know, there'll be a single flake of a lichen on a wood somewhere that I didn't hit for long enough. I'm pretty sure in real life, though, if you use the wrong pressure while pressure washing something, you'll just fucking decimate it. So, I don't know if that's an option for real pressure washing. Alright, we are now on to a song that is not a KK Slider song. This is just called Columns. Is this from something, or is this just someone making vaporwave? I hope I haven't stumbled off of the Streamer Safe playlist. That would be a real problem. I gotta say, I don't know if this belongs on the same playlist as Bubblegum KK. We're getting into music vibes that I would call straight up nefarious. Villainous, even. This is a part of this level that I really like. If you stand a ways away from these little awnings and you power wash them from a distance, you can actually draw really cool, like, forced perspective patterns with the grime inside. And it actually lets you get a really good look at the way that they sort of model the water physics in this game. So I'm actually going to do that again to see if I can't replicate it on the other side. Maybe this is why I would be a bad power washer in the real world. I know last stream I was talking about the idea of getting a license as a real power washer, and like what the actual steps of that are in the real world. I think you probably don't get paid hourly. Like, you probably get paid per the job from all of the things that I've looked at. And so if you're standing around, like, drawing dicks in the grime with your power washer, I'm pretty sure that is one of those instances where time is in fact money. The rest of the time, I don't understand that phrase, because I'm a ninth dimensional being, and time is actually its own dimension, and a substance. In fact, if you know how, you can spread it on your toast like jelly. I'm made of, like, 30% time. There's some parsley and sage in there, too, if you go looking. Alright, let's go check out the fruits of our art project labor. Yeah, I'm walking up the slide because I'm cool.
Hey, that's pretty good.
All right. Our lo-fi is sampling iDubbbz now. I'm glad that I didn't give the creator of this playlist credit, frankly, because they have terrible taste. This is an anti-iDubbbz channel. I think anyone who makes most of their content about how other people are cringe and shit, and literally has a bit called Content Cop, should go outside, look at a tree, maybe some flowers. Like, I think the problem is a lot of the people who make these series that are about cringe of the week or other people's content and how gross other people are and how bad their content is. Like, I think a lot of those people live in LA, and LA doesn't have any grass they can go outside to touch. You know, it's all on fire. So, they just kind of harbor a deep hatred in their heart that makes them awful. You know, I'm starting to get worried now after that little sampling that some of these lo-fi anime songs are going to get the kind of horny that's not actually Twitch safe. People think it's Twitch safe, but it's not. Especially because we are now on a song called Bunny Girl Senpai ED Lo-Fi version. Why does your Bunny Girl Senpai have erectile dysfunction? Well, that's for you and her to discuss, I suppose. There's really a good angle to actually wash these roofs from. With a lot of these more geometric shapes, you can kind of find a way where you can just scan, sweep back and forth. But there's something with walking on these roofs that makes it a little awkward and weird. I think it's because there's something wrong with how they're slanted that makes you walk really slowly on them. To get to the end of this stream and find out my audio was mismixed and nobody can fucking hear me whatsoever. That's the dangers of using a bunch of secondhand equipment from early 2000s electronic stores that I scavenged out of the space junk. None of it fits together right, and for some reason my microphone has something like 300% gain when it's plugged into the computer directly. When it's plugged into the proprietary USB interface that came alongside the microphone, the gain is fine. But that proprietary USB interface also has an incredibly loose knob on it that doesn't, and I must emphasize this, it doesn't change the volume of the headphones, it adjusts the system's sound output. So if I twiddle with that at all during stream in order to stop blasting my ears, it'll actually throw off the sound mixing even more. So it's gone now. I actually don't know where it is. I think Gub put it in a big bucket of cables, because Gub has a big bucket of cables that are just, you know, all of the wires for early 2000s phones that we just don't use anymore, because I've got an iPhone now. It's actually kind of useless. The iPhone 99 doesn't even have a screen. But I like having a little object to put in my pockets. I gotta weigh my pants down or else they don't fit right. And you know, after a certain point, that's really the only reason that I was carrying the phone around, was to weigh down my pocket. Alright, Bunny Girl Senpai, erectile dysfunction, you're getting points for this piano solo right now. Still a shame about what happened to your Bunny Girl Senpai, but I think she's channeled it into her music very well. Gonna turn to the maximum pressure and just kind of sweep it around, see if it makes any funny shapes. Every time I play this game, I can't help but imagine also the part of the experience which isn't modeled, which is like having to avoid having a lichen and crap fall in your eye because you blasted it into the air with a couple thousand PSI of water. Like a proper gas-powered pressure washer will send that dirt flying, especially if you blast it into a corner or something. You know, it'll harness the sink spoon effect when you wash out a spoon in the sink and it just spits in your mouth. It'll harness that, but instead the pebbles will be going fast enough they'll embed in your fucking face. It's something else. But that's not modeled in this game, and I always have to think about, like, the sort of experience of if I push a bunch of gunk that I'm power washing into a corner, and then while I'm pushing that gunk into the corner, it blasts up into my face and hurts my eye really badly. Or like, I'm walking around in a 1/4 inch of water that isn't draining off of the wood of the play place fast enough, you know? Just the sluck, 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 sluck of someone in tennis shoes walking through, again, not super deep water, just like 1/2 inch high water. If you're wearing waterproof shoes, your socks aren't wet yet, but they will be in a couple of seconds if you don't play your cards right, so you better be careful. Or something terrible happens. Even when you're made out of slime, wet socks are the worst feeling in the world. Like, imagine someone's completely dry tongue being pressed against your skin. That's what having wet socks is like when you're made of water. Or any other assorted space slime. So the next time you think about how badly you want to be a slime girl, consider that. You'll never be able to wear wet socks again without it being 100 times worse. I've only just realized that we've ticked over to Adventure Time, but is it okay if it's lo-fi? Which is certainly a song title. But that would also explain why this song is a little bit familiar. I'm gonna let you in on a secret, y'all. I never actually got into Adventure Time. I watched a lot of the early seasons, like I saw that early creepy-ass episode with the deer with human fingers, and, you know, I watched the pilot when it originally aired, because being polydimensional, I just, you know, all TV shows are always airing for the first time, all the time for me, because I live in the 9th dimension. But, it never really grabbed me in the same way that it grabbed other people. Same thing with, like, regular show. It was round about the time that Cartoon Network, you know, just after it had tried to get into live-action TV for some ungodly reason and failed awfully. Like, that was when I fell off of cartoons. Which is strange, because as an adult, I like cartoons a lot, you know? I spend a lot of my time just going back and watching old cartoons now that I have this empire's worth of HD TVs to watch them on. Like, I've watched all of Yu Yu Hakusho, which is, I would say, probably worse than a lot of television that exists now, purely just from an animation quality standpoint. It is foundational anime, don't get me wrong. I think Yu Yu Hakusho is fantastic and incredible. But you also do have to accept that it was like 90s anime being created on a shoestring budget off of 90s manga, which weren't always the most interesting. You know, I still remember the one transphobic joke of Yu Yu Hakusho, and that was pretty bad. Now, I don't know if it's just because this is a playlist arranged out of actual music creators who have offered up their music for Twitch streamers. But this, on the whole, is a lot more tolerable than the public domain stuff. I gotta say, the public domain stuff did feel a little bit like, the sort of music that would come on, like, the Yamaha Lo-Fi box. right? They send you they make a new toy beatbox for kids that makes lo-fi, and you press a button, it'll play you. I was gonna name one of the songs we listened to last stream, but I genuinely don't remember any of them. Maybe it's just the placebo effect, because I knew the other songs were in the public domain, and these songs that I'm listening to now simply have the sort of scandalousness that I'm not 100% sure if all of these are public domain. This could be one of those situations where someone who doesn't understand copyright law has declared these songs copyright safe. I'm not gonna follow them back on Twitch in order to see the rest of their pedigree in assembling this playlist. Because here's the thing, right? If you follow me on Twitch, I want you to follow me at the end of the day because you like my content and you want to watch me play video games. If you're following me because I've forced you to, like, fill out a form saying that you'll follow me back and send a screenshot of me following you, like, that's like paying for a bot to follow you, you know? Because that person's probably not gonna watch your stream. And at the end of the day, if I have followers, I want at least some of them to come to my stream. I'm all about people getting credit for their work, but again, a forcible screenshot of me following you in order to gain access to the credits for your playlist is pretty depressing. You have given me depression. I have it now. I'm gonna vape it now. I almost just swallowed my vape, hearing the lo-fi Pokemon theme come on. And for any of you wondering what I'm vaping on this fine day, what a Void Puppy uses in order to vape to have a good time, it's benzene. It's pure benzene. I've been hitting on a vape full of pure benzene. You should try it, unless of course you can get cancer, in which case you absolutely should not try it. Alright, we are now apparently on to the 8 p.m. theme from Animal Crossing, which again is a nice theme, but I think thematically it doesn't necessarily fit with some of the lo-fi trap beats that we've heard. I still don't necessarily think that Columns fits in with the Animal Crossing music from a purely thematic standpoint. That was the name of the song that had the straight up fucking trap beat in the background, right? I'm not losing it. Yeah, it was Column. Every time I see the word column written out, especially when it's spelled properly with the U and everything and not misspelled like a lot of people seem to do, all I can remember is that one episode of, again, looping back to cartoons, Chowder. Now, Chowder was the last cartoon that I think I watched all of, and the ending of Chowder sucked so badly that I think it might have been what prevented me from watching other cartoons all the way through at the time. But every time I see the word column written out, all I can remember is that episode where they have all those trees. And I think the joke of the episode is quite literally that they're Gotmiks. the joke, which is kind of a weird, uncomfortable joke to make about children's media. Like, that's a very specific stereotype of a very specific kind of Russian man to be showcasing in children's media, which is just a little odd. But one of the conditions for him to give off his sap, which is supposedly the most delicious and incredible sap in the universe, is that he needed marble columns. Just everywhere? And I don't know what that is. Like, if marble is just very expensive? Because I know there's the association of, like, marble columns and statues and the sort of, like, Greek patricians of that old empire, but I'm pretty sure marble's one of the most common... Where do I know this song from? Why do I know this song? One second, I need to figure out why I know this song. It's apparently from Jujutsu Kaisen, which is not a name I'm familiar with, because I'll be honest, when I watch anime and read manga, I call them by their translated name. I don't call it Kimetsu no Yaiba, I call it Demon Hunter. Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Gege Akutami. Serialized in Shueisha Shonen Manga Weekly Shonen Jump since 2018. Huh. Yeah, never mind. I don't think I've ever encountered this anime in the wild. I guess when you lo-fi an anime theme, there's gonna be a point where they all do sound the same. Musical theory only goes so far. Now that I've looked this up, I can't even remember what I was talking about. Tracing back. Marble columns? Marble columns. Is marble expensive? Or is it the cost of paying someone to cut it into a column? You give me a couple days, I'll lick the marble into a column for you for free. I got a powerfully abrasive tongue. Cost a heck of a lot less than hiring a sculptor, too. Alright, get the tops of these railings if I can. See, I could put on a shorter extension when I'm working in close range, but where would the fun in that be? I prefer instead to just whack my power washer against whatever I want, whenever I want. Alright. We're $30 away from a power washer upgrade, boys. A sentence that I definitely wouldn't thought I would have said in earnest a couple years ago, huh? Like, it's kind of crazy to think about how genuinely popular and enjoyable Power Washer Simulator actually is. Because at the end of the day, right? A first-person shooter like Call of Duty or Modern Warfare or Battlefield is just moving your mouse over a target and holding down left click until the target goes away. So it doesn't necessarily have to be you're killing people by shooting them. Oh, did you hear the mayor's cat Ulysses is missing? The whole town is on the lookout for him in the festival. We won't have spring till he's put that hat on. Sorry, the mayor's cat reigns in spring by putting on a hat? If I had to wear that hat, I'd go missing. Wonder what that hat looks like. But yeah, Power Washer Simulator, at the end of the day, it is just moving a mouse over the targets until they're gone, which in the most abstract is every shooter game. Here's a question. Is it still a first-person shooter if the substance you're shooting isn't water? Or isn't bullets, rather? Like we all came to the conclusion from Doom that a first-person shooter had to be you shooting bullets or plasma or like nails from a gun, right? But if I have a game where I'm using a t-shirt cannon in order to fire t-shirts into the crowd because I'm playing Hockey Mascot Simulator 2022, that's technically still an FPS, right? Even though we would probably like genre tag it as a simulator. And to the comment from chat that cleaning is only fun in games, I think you are 100% correct. I have played actual hours of my life away, like 9 hours straight, just playing Viscera Cleanup Detail, because I'm meticulously going through and I'm sweeping up every last bullet case, and I'm picking up every single cigarette butt, and I'm getting 100% like perfect on the level. And in real life, my ship is an utter shithole. There are 3 cups looking around the room that I can see right now that I need to go clean up and take to one of the autoclaves to get my germs out of. But I just haven't. Because I'd rather clean here. And I've always wondered, maybe it's just because in real life you have to physically clean, but I enjoy exercising. Like, I willingly exercise from time to time. So cleaning, if I'm in the right mindset, I'm trying to get a workout in, then I should, in theory, be enjoying myself. But I'm very much not. Isn't that weird? When does cleaning become shit and terrible? Apologies for the sudden pause. The liquid thyme I put all over my toast has gotten to me. Huh? Oh. Oh, I'm being threatened, I see. Oh God. Sorry for the audio experience of having to hear my girlfriend kiss me, everyone. #1 Angler, the best admin and only admin other than Stream Elements that this stream has ever had, came into the room and kissed me in the face. Oof, ouch. Also, I will say, Fly Me to the Moon always works. I don't know what it is about the song Fly Me to the Moon. There are songs that work, and Fly Me to the Moon is simply one of them. You could do a lo-fi remix, you could do a ska remix, you could do a punk rock remix. In fact, you know what? Fly Me to the ska remix. Let's find out what this sounds like. Oh yeah, first result. First result we have Ska Natra, Fly Me to the Moon. Now, I can't necessarily play this because this might be copyrighted, so I'm gonna hit the BRB screen while I give this a listen, and I'll let you know my opinions in just 1 second. Well, folks, I'll be honest. Whoever uploaded that song with the title Fly Me to the Moon Ska Mix is a liar. That was a reggae cover, if anything. It was a ska song that barely had any horns in it and was mostly steel drum and marimba. And I'm sorry to break it to you all, that's not ska. That's reggae music. It's different. I am genuinely very disappointed and almost a little upset because when I go online, ooh, now we're talking. When I go online and I type in "Fly Me to the Moon Ska," I want something that sounds like Goldfinger's Superman. I want the first 2 seconds of a ska song to punch me in the balls so hard that I can't feel them for the rest of the day. I want Hoenn levels of I want to be assaulted by a ska song. And yet, there are so many people out there who upload ska songs that are just reggae. Like they have just mistaken reggae for ska because they are not the same thing. Yeah, you know what? For some reason, you saying Bumpy Gaslighted by Fly Me to the Moon parentheses ska has made me imagine what if I had a redeem once I get affiliated. What if I had a redeem that was just I have to go listen to Fly Me to the Moon. You know, I have the 100,000 token redeem, which is I have to stop what I'm doing and go stream Journey. You know, for 200,000 tokens, you can make me go listen to Fly Me to the Moon ska, parentheses, reggae, square bracket, why does everyone always call reggae ska, and vice versa. I'm sorry to show my true colors here, but I do like ska. It's one of my favorite genres. I love the loud horns. I love it when a white guy who's probably a line cook talks about how much he loves his baby. I love when that same white guy talks about how he's gonna do a kickflip and how he hurt his balls doing that kickflip and how that means he has true love for you, girl. Ooh. I don't want to treat it right, Tokyo Smooth Jazz. There's something about the vocals on this track that's actually losing it for me a little bit. They seem mildly unsynchronized with the actual jazz in a way that I don't agree with. I don't think they're swung to the same time signature. Alright, if you're a real gamer, you'll recognize this track. If you're a real gamer, post the name of this track in the chat, or else I'll ban you for 24 hours. This is a gamers only chat. Sorry. I'm not joking, by the way. You're all about to catch a fucking ban if you can't figure out where this song comes from. Yeah, you too. It doesn't matter if you're the mod. You're the one person confirmably in my chat right now, motherfucker. It's over for you. That little piano riff was a little identifying, maybe. actually gonna ban anyone over this. I just think it's really funny, some of the stuff that people have chosen to make into lo-fi music, because this is the fucking Game Over theme from Super Mario World. They've stretched into a 2 minutes and 30-second long fucking lo-fi song. Hang on. Wait, Gov. You have low files? You've been wasting ship storage space on lo-fi music? You know you can just make that by running a high-pass filter over any song, right? This one is apparently Totoro's Interlude, and I'm gonna let you all in on an honest... I'm gonna be honest here, alright? I'm a streamer. I hear that people enjoy me being honest and genuine so they can form a parasocial relationship with my fat tits. I know more about Studio Ghibli's Pompoko than I know about My Neighbor Totoro. Literally, the only thing I know about My Neighbor Totoro is that Totoro is there, and a lot of people think that that movie is about murder because people love making edgy theories about how Ghibli movies are about prostitution and murder and suffering. Sorry, they lo-fi remixed the part where they're visiting her sick mom? That's a great question. Why did they choose to lo-fi remix the part where they're visiting her sick mom? Yeah, I've seen Howl's Moving Castle, and I love Howl's Moving Castle. Spirited Away I saw at a very young age, and I think it permanently affected my brain. Because I saw Spirited Away when I was 9. Hey, actually, does anyone remember when Cartoon Network put Spirited Away on as a kids movie during, like, prime time kids movie hours? And it is a kids movie. Like, I don't think there's any part of that movie that's too terribly inappropriate for children as, like, a sort of parable and fable. But, like, for American children specifically, I think Spirited Away was like tailor-made to just permanently fuck up American kids and make them weird and strange. Also, oddly enough, that last track did have a transition into Howl's Moving Castle, and then we moved on to a song that is also a remix of the Merry-Go-Round of Life from Howl's Moving Castle. Like, I think all of those theories about Spirited Away, like, it's a metaphor for child prostitution, I think that is nonsense. But it definitely is a children's movie where the main setting is a supernatural bathhouse, you know? Like, the part that scared me most personally was the part where her parents turn into pigs. Because they're in that moment, like, she's trying so hard to be a responsible kid, and she's like, no, please don't steal, please don't steal. And her parents, in the English dub at least, give the most ridiculous response possible, which is, don't worry, it's okay if we steal, we'll just pay them afterwards, because they assume, oh yeah, these people must take credit cards. And when I was young, when I was very young, when I was an itty bitty thingin', learning human interaction, being simulated on a gaming computer in Arizona, I was worried about the idea that no, they won't take a credit card and then you'll owe strangers money. Like, I know the actual lesson there is that you shouldn't eat strange food in the forest because it will get you literally spirited away by the fucking Hyake Yako or whatever. But as a kid, my worry was, oh no, we're gonna be in debt to a bunch of forest people and they're gonna be mad at us. And honestly, as an adult, rewatching Spirited Away, it was the funniest experience of my life. Because there's a very early line in that dub where the dad in Spirited Away talks about how it's okay that he's whipping up a mountain road going like 90 because their new SUV has 4-wheel drive. And so for the rest of the movie, whenever something bad happened, like whenever someone was eaten by No-Face, or like fucking the main character was falling from a really high place, or in very serious, very grave danger, the only thing that anyone in my friend group could say was, it's okay, she's gonna activate her 4-wheel drive any second now. Or, hey kid, use your 4-wheel drive. Why aren't you using your 4-wheel drive? It'll get you out of this situation. I don't know if that's the thing that is mentioned specifically in the Japanese dub, or if that is just sort of an Americanism they use to localize her dad's like obsession with opulence and like being a middle-class guy. But he literally just goes, "Don't worry, honey, I've got 4-wheel drive." And then he immediately like goes up a mountain road going 70. And I need you to understand, like, this is a Japanese mountain road, so these are like near 90-degree blind turns where the cliffs are marked by cairns at best. Oh, I'm so sad that wasn't something that came across in the subtitled version. I would have loved if in the subtitled version it was also specifically him talking about his 4-wheel drive. It's like meant to be them being like arrogant city folk though, right? Like, oh, don't worry, I have a credit card and a 4-wheel drive. I would never get stolen by a supernatural bathhouse. I gotta say, I was worried I was gonna run out of shit to talk to with this whole like lo-fi music and power wash stuff, but some of the shit people choose to lo-fi is real good conversation fodder. Okay, so what is the difference, if you know, what is the difference between a Japanese car dad and an American car dad? So I know American car dads generally want like engine torque and off-road handling, but in Japan isn't the obsession like generally like stock cars and like drift cars for like fanciness? Like in America, you have a big ugly piece of shit that can drive up a mountain. And in Japan, you know, you have the very stereotypical what a wimp! Real men attack these curves at speed! And then you immediately fucking flip your stock car 3 times over a railing down a mountain. Oh my god, so if we're gonna translate that 1-to-1, he's in the mountains and he's literally like, don't worry, honey, my car has stopping power. Watch me fucking drift this mountain road. No wonder he and the kid's mom are going through a rough patch. If he's driving up into the fucking mountains of like Hokkaido and being like, don't worry, honey, I'm gonna drift it. While both she and her child are like, no, Dad, please don't drift it. Oh my god. The dad in Spirited Away is gonna fucking bomb it down his fucking Black Diamond slope. Just you fucking wait. Just you watch and wait, honey. I want to read this comment out loud so it's immortalized on stream, even if it doesn't get captured because of like video quality issues. Akiko fucking screaming as her dad drifts at 90 miles per hour into that little Jizo statue out front, killing them all instantly. Also, hey folks, it looks like we have a new power washer. We have the Urban X2 Standard. We don't have any extensions for it right now, so we're back down to the nasty stubby gun. And we don't even have the turbo nozzle right now, which is pretty rough. But I'm willing to bet the pressure on this thing is just gonna be high enough that it... Yeah, look at that. Not to sound like a dad, but look at that, that's beautiful. We're taking off Lycan with a green nozzle. Now, can I angle this thing to see how many PSI it is? No. Urban X2 Standard. I think they had to stop putting the gallons per minute on the outside of these pressure washers because they realized that they accidentally made the light-duty pressure washer, like, actually an incredibly expensive industrial one because 5,000 gallons a minute is actually kind of a nuts amount of water for a pressure washer. Or at least for you to claim is light-duty on a pressure washer. Apparently one of the actual real-world hurdles with pressure washing is that a lot of the time, in order to actually increase the cleaning power at your disposal, you literally just need to attach more hoses to the device, and that exponentially increases the amount of water you actually need to make the thing wash. And so they have like these four-headed concrete scrubbers that can clean 10 feet of concrete at a time. But those fucking four-headed concrete scrubbers that clean 10 feet of concrete at a time end up needing like 80,000 gallons of water an hour, and you have to feed them from an external tank because you can't possibly get that pressure out of anything other than a fucking fire hydrant. Like at 5,000 gallons per minute, which is pretty heavy duty for a pressure washer, if that is your light duty, I'm imagining the professional duty power washer in this game. Like if I aim that at Ulysses, that orange tabby that we've been seeing, like it's gonna scour the skin from his body. Also, if you name where this song comes from, I'll ban you from the stream for being a Pokemon nerd, you Pokemon nerd. Here's a question I've never actually answered on stream before. What's your favorite Pokemon? No one's asked it, but I'm thinking about that question now because whenever I talk about Pokemon, I ask people, what's your favorite Pokemon? And then I ask them, how do you pick what your favorite Pokemon are? My favorite Pokemon are really, really, really simple. I like cute Pokemon, I love ugly cute Pokemon, and I love round Pokemon. My number one Pokemon of all fucking time is Shuckle, because he's a funny little goopy guy. You know, his stats aren't great, but he's got a weird gimmick in that he's got the most fucking ridiculously yoked defense stat in the game, and he has a lot of fun, like, setups with Contrary and Trick Room, and, like, a lot of weird gimmick shit going on. He's got Infestation, Shuckle, if you want to just be a monster and waste someone's time. And, he makes alcohol. Shuckle keep berries inside of their body, and they brew them into rare candies, and then eventually, I think, into literally berry juice, which is implied to be alcohol, because that's how you age berry juice. It turns into alcohol. Audino! We have the answer of Audino or Spinda from Gub. Now, I think I know what your criteria might be based on the body shape of those two Pokemon. I think it's the funny little guy body shape. My criteria, by the way, they have to be a funny little guy. Shuckle counts because looking at the plushie of Shuckle I have sitting on my desk right now, he's just looking at me. Like, Shuckle looks like he's just looking at you and like, hey. You know, he's just a guy. And then like Spheal. Spheal is my second favorite Pokemon, and that's because I like round Pokemon. Like, if you have a round Pokemon, like if you have Phalanx, Spheal, like any silly little round dude. Bidoof, because he's a tube. But Gub, how did you come to the conclusion of either Audino or Spinda? Because I'm a fan of Spinda. I love Spinda's gimmick with their spots. Like, I love any Pokemon with a good gimmick, like Malamar having Topsy-Turvy. Ice-Q. I think Ice-Q is lovely because of his funny little face. Just because, like, gimmicks are a good way to make me like a Pokemon. Spinda I like because not only are they cute, but they are all randomized. Like, I love the idea of your Spinda because of the way that Emerald works. Technically, like, the Spinda that you catch in Emerald will be your Spinda. Even if you trade it away, it'll still be that Spinda that you got out of Emerald. Your first shiny. Can I confess something? I have never caught a shiny that wasn't scripted. Like, I got a couple in Legends Arceus, but I believe all of those were scripted, and like Legends Arceus already has massively upped shiny rate. I have never managed to sit down and say, okay, I want a shiny, and get a shiny, and despite all of my playing of Pokemon for years and years and years, I went out of my way as often as possible with repels and stuff to avoid trainer battles and to avoid wild battles, because battling was the part of Pokemon that actually annoyed me the most because I couldn't just steamroll it with Grovyle. So I have never caught or had a shiny. Why have I've just received absolutely baffling notification on my Linux system, which is it's a notification that said Riley Freeman soundboard from the Boondocks, and it opened a soundboard from the Boondocks in my browser. What the fuck? What? Do I have a fucking do I have a Boondocks soundboard virus? What the fuck was that? Why did my computer just randomly send me a fucking soundboard notification for a character from the Boondocks? A character that I absolutely cannot play soundboard clips of on Twitch because they say racial slurs that Twitch does not allow on that show. Did I leave a tab open and not realize it? I'm sorry, folks. I've been a little thrown off by that. Audino. Why Audino? Why do you like Audino? I don't have any tabs open to the Boondocks. I have one tab open that's open to a YouTube video about cursed cocktails making, cursed cocktails that are made with, like, Campbell's soup. Because I want to watch a video about cursed cocktails made with soup when I'm done streaming. And I guess something in my setup deep down was like, oh yeah, you're thinking of drinking the Campbell's Old Fashioned? You must want Boondocks sound clips. I'm so confused. That's genuinely confused me. I don't know where that possibly could have come from. I don't even watch the Boondocks. Maybe it's because the computer heard me talking about how Adult Swim fucked me up real bad by airing Spirited Away that one time. Or rather, Cartoon Network aired it right before the transition to Adult Swim. So as a kid, I got blasted by Spirited Away and it rotted my brain. Sorry. Howdy, Dirt Finder. Put everything on hold. My golf buggy's soiled like you wouldn't believe. Jeff Jefferson the 13th, huh? Doc gave her details to a colleague who needs a hand with her new place in the suburb. It's the old DeAnt place, so I hope you don't get spooked easily. Oh, so we're cleaning haunted houses now. Autono, because Autono is the only survivor of my first Nuzlocke. I kind of want to do an Emerald Nuzlocke on this channel to revisit Emerald as an adult, because I haven't played that game since I was, you know, simulation age 12. And I played that game really, really badly, so I'm wondering if that game actually holds up in the way that I think it does. And I'm wondering if I could actually hack a Nuzlocke, because, like, I've always considered the idea of doing one. But there's also a point where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just get sad having to release the Pokemon. You know, I'm the kind of Nuzlocke player where I don't do it full hardcore. I put the Pokemon in a box so I can retrieve my shinies after the Nuzlocke is done. But I feel like some of the drama of the Nuzlocke is lost if you're sending your Pokemon to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dub Shadow Realm instead of killing them. You know? You have to do it with Cast Form, though. You can't get rid of Cast Form. I don't know if I love the Pokemon gameplay loop, but, like, that's the thing. I would want to do something to make it more interesting than baseline Pokemon, because I know for a fact that if I just throw my Grovyle into everything that comes after me, I can beat Emerald. Because I beat Emerald with one Grovyle at level 90. I was deranged as a child. I beat Emerald with a grass type. Huh? Oh, beat Emerald with just a Grovyle? And, you know, as a kid, I had to have non-starters switch in to revive my No, you know what? Starter and Cast Form only run, because I will need a second Pokemon, because Emerald was the gen where they had a bunch of mandatory double battles. So I'll have my starter and I'll catch like a Zigzagoon so I can have them in double battles or some shit, because I will have to have another. Actually, wait, do you have to have two Pokemon to double battle, or will they let you single battle in a double battle? Because my issue is I would get up to, I think, Tate and Liza, and they'd be like, hey, double battle with us. And then I'd be like, sorry, I don't have two Grovyles. They really will, huh? Shit. Okay. Yeah, no catching Emerald. Put it on the fucking list. That probably won't take that much longer than a Nuzlocke, right? I only have to grind the one Pokemon instead of the rest. Yeah, Sceptile, Cast Form, and fucking build them if I manage to defeat Stephen Stone. Actually, wait a second. Can Sceptile learn all of the I would also need an HM slave, I think, because I'm not smart enough to do those runs where it's like, oh, yeah, I glitched past Rock Smash because I'm doing a Mudkip only run and Mudkip can't learn, like, fucking Rock Smash or whatever. I know for a fact that I picked the wrong one because one of the things the Mudkip can very notably learn is Rock Smash, but you know what I fucking mean. Yeah, we're gonna have a problem the second the game asks me to surf, and I don't necessarily want the challenge run to be, can I somehow get to cast form without surf? I mean, you don't need surf. Technically, can't you have Mr. Briny just take you between all of the cities? Wait, Magikarp guy. Oh my... Did I forget that Magikarp guy was in Emerald? Also, this is a Bossa Nova version of My Neighbor Totoro. There's a lot of My Neighbor Totoro on this playlist. So, yeah, oh wait, no, there is a guy you can trade for a Magikarp, so I would have to... Wait a minute. Would I have to trade my Sceptile for Magikarp so that I could learn Surf? I don't think they let you trade your starters to in-game NPCs, will they? Actually, wait, do we count fishing rod catching as the same thing as Pokeball catching for the purposes of a no-catching run? I could do the confused fisherman run. What do you mean, catch Pokemon? Only like 5 of them bite my rod, and one of them's this weird fucking Coelacanth. The Emerald Coelacanth puzzle. I know everyone always talks about how ridiculous Emerald's puzzles were, but I remember it distinctly because as a little kid, I was going online and I was seeing all these guides that were like, yeah, you have to read this plaque, which is in Braille, but it's not in Braille that you can feel, it's in Braille that's just on the screen. And even as a kid, there was part of me that was like, there's no fucking way this can be real. Like, there was part of me that was like, there is no way this is the way you catch Coelacanth. God, I hope if they make another Legends game, that the whole concept of the Legends game is you're playing as a guy who doesn't know what Pokemon are in a world full of Pokemon trainers. Like, you guys know I'm playing Pal World the second that motherfucker comes out, because I loved Pokemon Legends Arceus just for the fact that they had the dynamic of everyone is terrified of even the lamest Pokemon. You know, this woman is terrified of a Starly. She will cry if you show her a Starly. Like, that was a really fun dynamic after generations and generations of Pokemon just being the replacement animals of the world, you know? So like Pal World, where it's like, oh yeah, there's criminal poachers, and you can have your Pokemon operate a fucking libertarian arms factory to go kill poachers with real guns. Like, you know I'm fucking there day one for that shit. But if they released an actual Pokemon game where the whole thing was like, everyone else catches Pokemon, and you're the one person who's like, why the fuck is this dog following me? It is apparently an option to join the poachers. See, that's why I'm hoping Pal World isn't just a bunch of good-looking trailers with no substance to the actual gameplay. Like, that is my ultimate worry, that it's just gonna be like the trailers are just a bunch of custom-made animations to get people interested, and then the actual game ends up being unplayably bad and like a really generic survival craft game. But like, if all of the animations and everything that's happening in those trailers is something that is tied to, like, gameplay and genuinely happens in-game with the amount of depth that is being suggested by the trailer, I think Palworld might be the funniest game in the world. That's the bad ending, Gub. Yeah, no, it's literally just Fortnite, but your grenade is like a Pachirisu instead of a grenade. Like, that's the nightmare, right? Like, the animals are just particle effects to a Fortnite clone. Hey, also, because I haven't actually watched Totoro and I'm thinking about it now. Is Totoro one of those movies where all the fantastical shit is secretly just a metaphor for dealing with grief, and the whole movie is actually really bleakly sad in comparison to all of the ad copy? Because that's what happened to Howl's Moving Castle for me. Like, Howl's Moving Castle, everyone's like, oh, Calcifer and wizards, and oh, wonderful. And then for me, the actual thematic centerpiece of Howl's Moving Castle is how it sucks to be a fucking adult daughter. It's awful. It's awful to be a middle daughter and to have people expect things of you. Wouldn't it be awful to know someone like Howl who starts crying if he fucks up his dye job? Like, when people theorize that My Neighbor Totoro is secretly about a serial killer, are they basing that on anything in actual My Neighbor Totoro, or are they just trying to make a kid's movie more edgy? Also, where do I know this song from? Because I swear that I know the song named Moonlight Dentetsu. So My Neighbor Totoro is the one Ghibli film where they took the World War II trauma and they put it away. It is the opposite scale of Grave of the Fireflies. Also, I know the name Moonlight Densetsu because that's from fucking Sailor Moon. I can't believe that I didn't recognize Lo-Fi Sailor Moon. Also, this is a different rendition of Fly Me to the Moon. Yeah, hey, don't watch Grave of the Fireflies if you're an emotionally vulnerable teenager. It won't end well. I can't speak from experience, but I knew some emotionally vulnerable teenagers who were permanently fucked up for life by watching Grave of the Fireflies at the wrong age. And it's funny, too, because there are so many articles online that'll be like, oh yeah, here are some traditional Japanese, like, foods that we don't get in America. And they'll give the fucking candies that feature as a plot device in Grave of the Fireflies as an example. And they're like, oh yeah, these candies famously appear in the movie Grave of the Fireflies. And it's like, guys, that's like saying Paper Mario and the Origami King notoriously contains an explosion in the first few hours. Or the movie Frozen has a betrayal in it. You know? If you know, you know. But My Neighbor Totoro, I assume it's the child runs away from home story that doesn't end with them getting stolen by a fat house fucking run by Oni, huh? Sorry, not Oni, yokai. I really should learn to differentiate my terms properly. I, for some reason, say Oni quite a lot when I mean yokai. They're not the same thing. So is Totoro literally just the fucking local forest spirit? Like, when it's a sweet film, are we talking on the level where, like, you can just talk to the local forest spirit for advice when you're sad? Again, unlike Princess Mononoke, where the local forest spirit is full of worms. I don't want to sound like too much of a weeaboo here, but I've always enjoyed in Japanese media how the prevalence of Buddhism and Shintoism has led to a sort of distinctly one-on-one relationship with the local gods and spirits. Where, you know, in America, like a lot of Japanese translated games, they have to change the word holy in translation, because Japan will talk about, like, devils and holiness very casually. You know, you have a guy who's got a really good throwing arm, and he's got the devil arm for throwing, you know, he's got the unholy arm or whatever. And then in America, they've got this weird stick up their ass about demons and angels, where, like, you have to give proper respect if you're going to call something angelic, you know? In America, you don't necessarily get Angel Hand Steve who fucking throws baseballs at 900 miles an hour because people feel it's blasphemous. And yeah, like Gub says in the chat, the relationship with your local spirit a lot of the time is quite literally they're your neighbor, you know? The local kami quite literally lives inside of that rock, and we wrap a rope around that rock so everyone knows that that's the rock that God lives inside of and knows to be polite to it. Like, that's the thing, even in America, when people choose to sort of adapt, like, the demonic personas, it's always like, ugh, that's blasphemous Steve who throws baseballs in the face of God because of how much of a badass, cool guy he is. And then you'll get in, like, anime and shit, you'll get like, oh yeah, I hear they call him the devil's stomach because he'll eat a whole carton of raw eggs. And it's like, okay. Is the devil insane? Is that what you're trying to communicate here? Is the devil a fucking weirdo? Or, I guess, you know, a much more obvious example that people may have encountered. A lot of the Final Fantasy games, they have to translate the holy spells as something else. Because in Japan, they're sort of referring to, like, you know, Aerith praying to the planet, or, like, praying to sort of the local kami or something like that. And in America, that's more like, oh yeah, no, you're praying to God. Like in Earthbound, like Paula has the prayer command. I don't think necessarily the prayer command in Earthbound was written with an American understanding of prayer, because the rest of that game is basically, this is what we think America is like, right? Like, the marketing for Earthbound, if you'll remember, was really fucking weird. Like, the marketing for Earthbound was like, oh yeah, here's a scratch and sniff sticker of Lord Belch, because this is the nastiest, yoinkiest, sploinkiest game you'll ever play. And it's like, is that what we're marketing to the Americans? Do Americans love when games are nasty and yoinky and sploinky? Did someone on the dev team in Japan watch a single episode of Nickelodeon, see someone get slimed, and go, that's what American... Like, what happened there? There's this weird, stereotype that I feel a lot of other countries have about Americans, where they're really into, like, for lack of a better word, Nickelodeon slime? Like, not literally Nickelodeon slime, but we're all, like, a lot of people from overseas, when they make media for us, they seem to think that we're either in the sort of America fuck yeah camp, which a lot of us are, Well, I say us. I'm not an American. I'm a space dog. I just grew up there. But you know, you have the sort of America fuck yeah media, and then you have like the early ad copy for Earthbound. And actually, let me see if I can't pull up an early, yeah, let me, yeah. Let me pull up a high-res version of this advertisement so we can really enjoy it together. This is from, I believe, a Nintendo Power at the time. Okay. Okay, Wii Shop theme. Oh no, the internet keeps serving me WebPs. I don't want WebPs. I hate the WebP format. I hate the WebP format. All right. I might have mistaken the Wii Shop theme for the Wii Sports Resort theme. What's your favorite Wii Sports game? It can be Wii Sports, or if you want, it can be Wii Sports Resort. If you were the kind of bougie motherfucker who managed to get a hand of Wii Sports Resort. Mine was the sword fighting. I was a big fan of Wii Sports Resort sword fighting, but I will admit that game also did kind of just let you flail through it really, really, really easily. Like there was almost no resistance in that game, to the point that I never actually like experienced the meme of Matt. I never actually got good enough at boxing that I got to experience Matt. All right, so let's see if I can't pull up this image so we can have a nice experience of it together. Quick. So this is the This Game Stinks advertisement that I'm going to throw up on screen here. And this was, for some reason, this was Nintendo of America's attempt to appeal to like the American audience, and I'm not quite sure how they expected this to appeal to an American audience, but they just did. And if you can't read this text, that's fine. I'm gonna give you all a nice dramatic reading from this JPEG while you all sit on this screen and experience This Game Stinks. Now, remember, this is Earthbound. This is a game that a lot of people consider, like, utterly formative, like, one of the best games they've ever fucking played. And like, this is a game that I think, unironically, this is gonna sound silly, but when I was a kid, this game helped me better accept the idea that I might one day die. Because like Earthbound and Mother 3 had a lot of really spooky moments in them where like you had to deal with very heavy subjects, like the Mushroom Samba in 3, dealing with Lucas feeling like his dad hates him and wants to kill him. Like there's some serious stuff in Earthbound, but this is how they chose to advertise it to Americans in their 2-page spread ad in, I believe, Nintendo Power. As if life didn't stink enough already, now you've got to be prepared for Earthbound, TM, the first role-playing game with BO. Imagine the horror in the aftermath of a terrible meteor strike, or was it an alien invasion? Burping, belching, gaseous monsters roam the streets of your hometown. Your only chance to survive and avoid their nasty smells is to learn the powers that can counteract their deadly forces, because this game stinks. Luckily, every day that you manage to stay alive, your powers improve. As you venture into the neighboring towns, you make some friends, including a girl who has amazing psychic powers, a boy genius capable of repairing anything broken, and a prince from an exotic eastern land. These friends help you take over control of your newfound strengths and help you'll need. If you thought the dark, creepy dungeons and evil spells of other role-playing games were tough to overcome, just wait till you have to deal with the heinous stench of monsters roaming the countryside. To make it easier to press the start button, a $10 coupon is attached. When the game arrives, a free player's guide will be included to help you find your way around town. Inside the guide are 6 Identi-Smell playing cards that give you a brutal whiff of some of the characters, as well as tips about everything from PSI powers to items. But even with all the powers, friends, and tips in the world, it isn't gonna be easy. That's because you, Ness, a mere 13-year-old boy, are the only one who has a chance of finding and defeating Gygus, an interstellar warrior who is out to destroy the entire universe. And to be perfectly honest, the odds are against you. And you might not be able to see it, but quite literally, some of these pictures are scratch and sniff. Like that pizza is apparently a scratch and sniff pizza. And that Master Belch is also scratch and sniff. And now I don't know if any of you here have played Earthbound. Explicitly, Master Belch smells so bad that smelling him makes you literally like vomit on contact with his stank. And I don't know if that was the writers of the strategy guide pitching the strategy guide and trying to sell the strategy guide, or if that was them, like the makers of Earthbound, legitimately trying to sell the game Earthbound. But either way, why did they choose to do it that way? You know, everyone in this modern age always wants to accuse people of having a fetish. You know, when people were looking back on iCarly, they realized that a lot of old iCarly episodes were just weird foot fetishism stuff that was disguised on the part of the creator Dan Schneider, right? And he was apparently a notorious sex pest that got outed for it. But I don't think this is the sort of same tier, right? Because the ad opens really, really strongly. It's like, hey, the world has been invaded by nasty, stinky, fucking disgusting monsters. And then they give a relatively cromulent breakdown of the actual plot events of Earthbound, including spoiling like Gygus is kind of a spoiler. When you think about it, like we don't think of it now as a spoiler because we've all experienced Earthbound through cultural osmosis, right? But Gygus was a spoiler in the original Earthbound. Like finding out that Gygus, the interstellar warrior, was behind it all was like a moment. And yeah, like Gub says, this was like that period where Americans were really into goops and oozes. But how did we get that cultural reputation? Like, was it literally just... Like, was it Nickelodeon? Was it because Nickelodeon was localized more overseas or something? Like, I want to know, like, where along the lines the cultural osmosis happened where Japanese people, or at least a lot of Japanese marketing people, came to the conclusion that Americans love goops and oozes. Discovery of putty plastic in America. Gub, okay. I know that silly putty was in fact discovered by someone doing research for World War II. Is this one of those things where you're just saying something funny? Or is this actually why other countries think we are obsessed with oops and goozes? Oops and oozes. Do people think of silly putty as an American invention? like, there are a lot of things that people think of as American inventions that aren't necessarily. Like, I would argue the light bulb is not an American invention because it was made by an Austrian immigrant who I don't think ever fully identified as American. But is it silly putty and rockets? Is that it? Silly Putty and Werner von Braun on Disney Channel, is that what we're known for? How hard did they market Silly Putty? Like, as my co-captain, as my best friend, as my co-navigator, and as my researcher of esoteric subjects. Is this real? Was there a fucking Silly Putty also, fuck, I love the Marble Garden Zone. Wait, no! Oh my god, you're completely... I just realized, around the exact same time that Silly Putty was invented, that was also when a lot of American housewives were getting marketed to for gelatin. And like the invention and wide commercialization of industrial refrigeration. Oh my god! Oh my god! So there was actually, legitimately, a moment in the international world stage where America's two major reputations were baseball and glop. That's the thing. I get the loud and obnoxious. I get the sort of loud and obnoxious connection, and I might even get the connection between us being like loud, obnoxious, friendly, and like the idea of like a slobbering dog, maybe. But the glop connection I had never quite made before realizing that Silly Putty and gelatin were both World War era inventions by material scientists working in America. Like, I'm pretty sure Silly Putty might have been invented by actual members of Operation Paperclip, which, if you're not familiar with, was the American bringing over of Nazi scientists to build us moon rockets. Operation Glopperclip. Okay, James is right. That doesn't actually sound like an Operation Paperclip, Science. Oh my god. Yeah, no, General Motors, the other source for wartime Nazi inventions. Either literal people from Nazi Germany or workers at General Motors. And one of the biggest other cultural things about Americans, I think, is our love of cars and the General Motors company. So I can't wait to see the cultural biopic of the American Empire that frames American innovation from the perspective of cars, glop, and rockets. Cars, glop, and rockets could be the name of my own personal, like, tell-all Hollywood sexposé about how I was a secret illegal rocketeer and made billions of dollars on the black market that I spent on hookers. Rubber substitute, yeah, that sounds about right. All right, a third mix of Fly Me to the Moon. Is this the extraordinary Dr. Powerwash? We got your details from Cal. We've got a dirty old house in need of some TLC. I still wonder why they use this fancy pants shock-absorbing rubber compound for the playground flooring and not good old-fashioned creosote. For those of you wondering what he means by good old-fashioned creosote, I don't believe he means creosote tar, which is the stuff that you get out of a creosote bush and is used to waterproof electrical poles. I believe he is literally referring to creosote pine mulch, or creosote bush mulch, which was the #1 playground wood filler that you probably ate shit onto as a child. If you ever fell onto one of those horrible death trap playgrounds that had a mulch ground, I believe it was creosote pine mulch specifically. But don't quote me on that. Also, whose idea was that? You know, we're gonna make our kids safer by covering the ground of a surface they fall off of in splinters. Like I know that it's soft wood and like it's in theory it's shock absorbing, but like, did we not have other options? Because I feel like wet packed dirt would have been a better option than mulch and probably would have been a little more hygienic. Because like wood mulch, when it gets wet, starts, yeah, no, hang on. I don't think about it often because I am a gel-based organism and I don't like to think about it. But Gub brings up a good point. Sand. Why did they decide to find the softest possible sand? Sorry, why did they decide to find the softest possible wood instead of having us fall onto sand? Oh, yeah, no. You know, I ask a question and Gub has an answer, and that's why we get along so well. Because I'll ask an incredulous question that has a subtle common sense answer, and Gub will just be like, well, I know the answer, because she's so smart. It's cleaning. Imagine a child covered in sand. Actually, you know, I know that we are now getting to the point where we're approaching a terminally boring stream because I'm talking about the material qualities of sand while playing a power washer simulator. But I want to wonder, like, in terms of cleaning, wood mulch is probably easier. Okay, another house. Why is there so much Howl's Moving Castle on this anime playlist? There are other guys, come on. There are other animes out there. But like, if a kid pees in sand, is that gonna get nastier than if a kid pees in wood? Because you'd think the wood would absorb it. But mulch never seemed all that absorbent, like looking at the stuff. Oh, it does, they just don't care. Excellent. I love how many children's play places are funded and founded on the principle, we don't really care if kids get a little bit of piss on them. Like, as a kid, if I was a germaphobe, like if I had understood the concept of uncleanliness and germs, I would have never gone in a McDonald's play place, because the actual idea of a McDonald's play place and the things they do there, like, like, even thinking about it as an adult makes my stomach feel a little bit weird, right? And I think the only reason kids are okay with it is because they don't really understand what you mean when you say, hey, don't touch that, it's covered in piss. Like, a kid understands that pee is gross, but I don't think kids really understand how gross pee is, or else they wouldn't do it all the time everywhere. I personally was scared off of play places very early because I was 13 when I first received a chain email talking about how there were heroin needles hidden in the local ball pit and how I would get one broken off in my leg and die of a drug overdose if I ever went in the ball pit. And I never went in one again. I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed by these playlists' over-reliance on, specifically the Carousel of Life from Howl's Moving Castle. They know there is more anime than the 3 Ghibli films, right? Like, I want to hear the Yu Yu Hakusho theme, but lo-fi. That is what I want right now, and they're not giving it to me. I want to be thanked for being a friend. And immediately off of Carousel of Life, directly into Town with an Ocean View from fucking Kiki's. I haven't watched Kiki's either, but I know for a fact that Kiki's delivery service is a metaphor for streamer burnout. So when I get streamer burnout, I'll be sure to give it a watch. It's not as if it could be relevant to any other aspect of life. It's only about streamer burnout because I'm the protagonist of the real world. Every film that Hidetaka Miyazaki has ever made is not about prostitution or child slavery. It's about streamers. Spirited Away is about streamers. My Neighbor Totoro is about streamers. Summer Wars wasn't a Ghibli film, but it reminds me of Ghibli movies. Summer Wars was... Wait, no, Summer Wars was actually about streamers. That doesn't work. Alright, Gub, you've watched the Ghibli films. What's your favorite song from any Ghibli film? Also, I know that Summer Wars was about gamers and not streamers. Summer Wars wasn't even really about gamers, though. Because at the end of the day, like, they had the backdrop of that MMO world and, like, the bad stuff happening in the MMO and all that shit. But at the end of the day, all the actual drama was just this one dude visiting this girl's family in the countryside. Like, for a movie that was sold to me by a lot of, like, top 10 anime movies of all times lists as a movie about, like, gamers and video games, very little to do with Summer Wars was about gaming. It was about, like, the changing of the seasons and literal cicada season as a fucking teenager, and, like, having a distinctly weird... Like, if Summer Wars is about anything... Summer Wars is about having a weird summer where a news story happens. Not necessarily to you, not necessarily because of you, but you have a weird summer where a news story happens. And the news story affects you, and maybe you are even a part of the news story, and yeah, maybe you are even the person who helped prevent the tragedy, in the case of, like, our protagonists. But at the end of the day, like, Summer Wars felt more about how sometimes it can be weird to have a summer break than anything else. Yeah, exactly. No, Gub has once again got it in one. Summer Wars is about that summer you watched your friend win a fighting game tournament, or that summer you watched your cousin win a fighting game tournament. Because literally, I think that is partially what happens in that film, yeah? Like, the protagonist of all of the MMO stuff ends up literally being, like, the new cousin-in-law of the Viewpoint character, if I remember right. Summer Wars isn't even really a movie about like that summer I watched my cousin win at an MMO. Summer Wars is about that time I met my girlfriend's family and they were kind of weird. Yeah, no, his fiance's weird little brother. Yeah, no, Summer Wars. Everyone's like, oh, Summer Wars has such good animation. Oh, Summer Wars has like a cyberpunk plotline. Oh, Summer Wars has this cool MMO. The anime, like all this stuff about Summer Wars. No, Summer Wars is an anime movie about meeting your girlfriend's parents and a bunch of shit happening in the background. But mostly, it's an anime movie about meeting your fiance's family. Okay, we are on another mix of Marble Garden. I'm gonna fast forward this one. I don't want to listen to Marble Garden again. Summer Wars. Yeah, no, Summer Wars ended up being a really nice movie because at the end of the day, like, no one's like the family are all like dysfunctional and weird, and they could even be shitty to the Viewpoint character, but they did a really good job of writing it so that it's very obvious that them being shitty to the MC is them being very affectionate for his fiance because she's their family member. Like, I feel like a lot of movies, they can get to a point where it feels really unrealistic, where it's like, you know, my family are acting like psychopaths to the man that I love, and it's making me cry constantly. But in Summer Wars, it really does feel like, oh yeah, my family all work as day-wage construction workers, and they're rough around the edges. Please don't get intimidated when they noogie you a little hard, you know? Like that's what I mean when I say that Summer Wars is a movie about meeting your girlfriend's family. And it's not about, like, the family hates you and wants you dead. It's just you have to meet the family, and they're a little strange. I'm really glad that my girlfriend doesn't have a family and is just two clowns. If I have to meet a construction worker clown from Hokkaido, I'm gonna be really upset. Because they're gonna be cooler than me, and that's gonna be really upsetting for me. Creosote is fungicidal, cheap, and an absolute joy to pour. Admittedly, it's also profoundly toxic to humans when ingested. So yeah, this guy literally wanted creosote-sealed mulch. That's really funny. This park ranger just straight up wants to poison children. What a guy. No wonder he doesn't care about them all getting fucking dermatitis. I bet he's one of those dudes, like, I don't know if anyone in the chat ever heard about this, but back in the day, apparently there was an issue where a landscaping company ended up resurfacing a bunch of beaches in like southeast resort town America with incredibly radioactive, not radioactive, sorry, it was chemically hazardous sand. It was like sand that they had mixed the chemical precursors to Agent Orange into to dispose of, or something like that. Like literal chemical weapons that they mixed into this sand. And then they gave it to these local landscapers, and the landscapers were like, hey, is there anything we should know about this sand? And they were like, no, it's just sand. It's just sand, it's fine. And then they went on to resurface a bunch of beaches with that sand, because in the region, it was so dry and dusty that a lot of the time they would soak down the beaches with with tar and stuff in order to keep them from kicking up sand when like the car races went through. because that was a real concern back in the day, because they would kick up a lot of dust and it would destroy the vehicles. But in doing so, not only did they end up putting a bunch of tar on the beach in the sand right next to the water, but in this scenario, they were literally using the chemical byproducts of the local Monsanto plant that was manufacturing Agent Orange for the war like 2 years previously. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of people in the region started getting sick, and an inspector came down and was like, hey, a lot of these people started getting sick round about the time that we went through and redid all of the beaches in the neighborhood. Do you guys think it might have anything to do with that? And it's like, I don't know. Does, like, 50 cancer cases in 1 year in one town have anything to do with us? We will never know how that happened. As far as I can tell, it wasn't even an issue of corporate malfeasance like many of these things tend to be. It was quite literally that people giving the sand to the landscapers didn't know that they weren't supposed to give it to the landscapers because they didn't know that that sand was going to be specially disposed of because it had fucking Agent Orange in it. Also, remember that time that Monsanto sponsored a fucking Disney exhibit? Okay, why do I know this song? I'm gonna Google this one too. Oh, this is apparently the same track as Bunny Girl Senpai Erectile Dysfunction that we listened to earlier. Apparently, this is actually this is actually just a theme from a light novel. Apparently, it is a light novel, the full title of which is Seishun Buto Yaru wa Bunny Girl Senpai no Yume wo Munai. And the English translation is literally, Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. And the title of the anime, I'm on the wiki page for it, and the manga just has No, Gup, you can't keep eating all that horny anime. It's gonna give you a disease. Okay, see, now, they get points here just for the fact that they actually use Spirited Away music. This is the first piece of Spirited Away music that I have actually heard on this fucking playlist all day, I'm pretty sure. And it's still One Summer's Day, which is the one everyone knows. So I have a question, actually, Gup, because you know about Spirited Away. How does one actually make the local river dragon forget his own name? You would think that the local gods would know that because it's really important. I don't actually remember why that plot point happened. I just remember that his name is a really important part of his whole character. Is Spirited Away one of those movies that I can get away with streaming if I have a fucking Prime membership? I'm sure they do show it in the movie. It's just been a very long time since I've watched Spirited Away. Basically, the only scenes I can remember are the ones that were really memorable to me as a kid. The Soot Sprite scene was very memorable to me as a kid. Not any of the No-Face scenes. I was not actually traumatized that badly by the No-Face scenes. I was bothered more by the scene where her parents get turned into pigs than by No-Face. And I remember the part from the very end where she's falling out of the sky, and she, like, guesses his name, but I don't remember how or why. Ah, right. I forgot that also happens to the main character. Wait, hang on. So the witch owns that bathhouse. Is it literally the bathhouse has been destroying the river in order to fuel the bathhouse, and that's why it's shackled the local fucking river demon? Is that actually the... Also, I just want to point... first of all, is that why it's the local river dragon has been enslaved? Or what happened there? Because I don't remember Spirited Away. Secondly, this is definitely the trap remix of the Able Sisters theme. Why is there something labeled a trap remix on this lo-fi playlist? That's insane. So, like, why did they have a spirit town just kind of waiting to like, was that just one of the many traps that the bathhouse had out, and it's simple as that? Because it seems like a roundabout way to keep your spirit bathhouse running, to enslave greedy local humans as livestock and workers. Did they literally just fuck up the local spirit parade like annoying ass tourists? Oh my god. Yeah, so he got so lost that he decided to disturb a fucking spirit festival. 'Cause I can think of no other reason why the spirits would have a town full of just tables covered in food. That's the thing, as a kid I didn't really have the social context to understand what was happening in Spirited Away, so I sort of remember the events of the film, but not why they happened or what the greater sort of mythological context is, you know? As a kid I was just like, oh yeah, he got turned into a pig because because that makes sense, you know? As a kid I didn't really question it as a punishment for intruding upon a festival, and the pigs being like, oh, they're so greedy, they need to be punished by being turned into pigs. I was just like, oh, They made a witch angry, and so she turned them into pigs as a joke. Oh no. You know, the opening of Spirited Away really, as an adult, has a hilarious context to it, because it is literally just the most idiotic divorced dad in the world drifting his way up to what is essentially a monastery on a 4-wheel drive. Like, not a monastery, but, you know, like a sacred ground that you wouldn't drive a fucking Jeep onto. And he's just drifting it up there, and it's like, no, honey, I'm not lost. I'm so not lost that I'm going to drift our car into a Jizo at 90 miles an hour and get us killed. I also might just be making up that the dad in that film is extremely divorced. I might just call him that because I think he acts in a manner that is extremely divorced, even if he isn't actually divorced from his wife. You know, he talks about activating his 4-wheel drive, so... Yeah, super divorced despite being married. Which is I feel like the kind of default vibe that a lot of anime dads fall into. It's a slightly different flavor from Homer Simpson, you know? But like, yeah, he definitely acts like his wife is his second wife, even if she's not necessarily his second wife, you know? But like, even with like a Homer Simpson in sort of the American sense, like Marge Simpson seems to put up with Homer Simpson out of a genuine love for his schlubbishness, and sort of the schlubby American sitcom dad is kind of a loving pastiche of a lukewarm shitbag of a guy, you know. Meanwhile, sorry, is this? This is just a C418 song. This isn't... Sure. We're just getting into Undertale music now. I wonder if the curator of this playlist made fucking Toby Fox follow her back on Twitch before she'd give him permission to use the playlist. But, like, the American schlub dad is from a place of love and respect, and I feel like a lot of times the Japanese schlub dad is, you have, like, the sort of, the miss lady who's like, oh, like that sort of woman who is chained to Dick Gumshoe. Like, does that make sense? Like, you have a lady who would rather be, like, giggling and going, oh, and like, killing people. You know, you have a madam from Princess Mononoke, and they're just, like, tolerating fucking Dick Gumshoe because she has to have a husband because it's legally required, you know? Like, there's a lot more of a vibe, I feel, with the Japanese deadbeat dad, that they are a divorce in the making and she's just looking for an excuse. Whereas, like, with any American sitcom dad, there's sort of this understanding that American families often end up with divorced parents, but not these ones, because deep down they love one another. Yeah. No, like, she has 3 credit cards, like Angler is saying in the chat, she has 3 credit cards, she has convinced the dad to take out 3 more so she can keep spending, and the key thing here that I think is important is he is not being taken advantage of. He has a bunch of disposable income, and he's really proud of his stock car and his 4-wheel drive and all of this stuff that he has. And he's so incredibly proud of all of this stuff. And he's really, really, like, he enjoys spending money on his wife. It's just the arrangement, you know? Like, the arrangement I have between my husband and I is that he acts like Dick Gumshoe, and he loves me, and is a sweet puppy dog man, and kind of a fail man. And I spend money on his credit cards. And as long as he is okay with me spending money off of his credit cards, I will not divorce him and leave the child. And for that matter, like a lot of the time, I feel like the vibe in anime at least is, you know, the vibe towards the kid is just like, hey kid, would you like some money from the money that your dad is giving me? It's not like, Jesus Christ, I hate this child, I wish I could get rid of this child from another woman. It's just, hey child from another woman, would you love some of this sweet money that your dad gave me? And then it's just like, no, I don't really want the sweet money that my dad gave you, thanks mom. Yeah, exactly. Like, he's acting like a Dick Gumshoe, but deep down, it secretly is a Findom thing. Like sometimes in live action sitcoms, I feel like it can get to the point where it's a little more like, this is obviously a sexual thing for them. But in the animated sitcom, and especially I feel like in anime, there's always that vibe where it's like, this could be a thing for these two, but I would be the weirdo if I asked them, is this a sexual thing, you know? Like, they might tell me one day it's a sexual thing, but if I outright ask them, that would be me being really, really weird and, like, invasive of a married couple's privacy. Once over this floor edge again, because this floor edge is in fact black grime on black rubber, so. Also, you know, I was about to comment how I'm glad that we're finally getting some songs that aren't from well-known anime, but this song is called A Simple Bunny Girl, and I have a feeling that it's probably from the Bunny Girl anime. Understand the appeal of like the bunny girl clubs and cafes. Like I understand in abstract what the appeal is supposed to be. Like you're supposed to get to, you're getting to look at pretty girl in an outfit. Ooh, I love seeing a booba tittle. But it's that same sort of problem that I have with like hostess clubs and strip clubs and like clubs in general, where part of the arrangement is the girls will be sexual towards you, like the girls will be horny at you. Like, I have always been of the opinion that going to a strip club is kind of like paying to get blue balls. Because you're not going to be allowed to touch the girl, because that is probably against the rules of the club you're in. And you're not going to be able to touch your wee wong. So if you're in the club and you have a dong, you're literally just paying to get a boner, possibly around other businessmen who also came to the club with you, you know? But like, why would I go to the strip club for a business meeting with all my hotshot, coke-snorting millionaire friends, when at the end of the day, that is me paying a lot of money to the performers at the club so that I can have a boner around guys that I work with. Guys who I maybe share a cubicle with if I'm unlucky. You know, you bring up a good point. Most business people think that they can seduce strippers. You know, that might be it. I think it might actually, now that I think about it, it might be them kind of confusing having money with being desirable, but like that's sad. I guess it's just because I've never had a lot of money, because the Yakovian Empire's cryptocurrency is worthless, but I've never felt good or bad about having money, you know? Money is just something that you could have. Also, this is apparently from Aiko. So hey, music that's not from fucking Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away. Now, is Jeff Jefferson the 13th Jeff Jefferson, or has he been elected mayor 13 times? Or have 13 Jeff Jeffersons been elected mayor? You might have heard about my poor cat Ulysses going missing. We're all frantic with worry, what with the ceremony just around the corner. I swear I saw him on the golf course frolicking on the lily pads in the lake by the 13th. Par 3, but I always get a birdie. By the time I realized it was just a boisterous car, but it was too late. I slammed on the brakes and went tumbling down the slope head over tail. Don't worry, docs have given the all clear. Said they'd never seen anyone recover from such a minor incident in so little time. The cart needs a hose down. Is this... Okay. This track is called Honey Bunny and has a washed-out pink Sailor Moon icon. So I'm gonna fast-forward it on the assumption that that's more Bunny Girl music, even if it isn't. I'm tired of hearing Bunny Girl music. Get it out of here. All right, the mayor's golf cart. Let's do it. Wow. The mayor really just paid the local power washing business to hose off his car with a very light pressure hose, huh? Like an incredibly light pressure hose. I'm pretty sure this might be a job that's technically meant for you to do when you have the light-duty pressure washer. Pretty sure the battery's behind that bumper. I don't know if I should be pressure washing that. How did all that poop get on top of the cart after you tumbled it into the river? How did the poop get on top of the layer of dust and dirt from the river? Did you pull this out of the river and then let it sit under a pigeon coop? Chassis really is a helpful piece of guidance here. I wonder where the chassis could possibly be on the golf cart. Really? That's the chassis? Because I'm pretty sure that the whole of the vehicle is the chassis, but okay. Yeah, the mayor really just paid us, like... How much money did he pay us for this job? Yeah, the mayor just paid us $100 to hose off his golf cart. I feel a little bit like a thief. Like, if he wasn't a politician, I'd feel like a thief that I got paid to do that just now. I think that's one of the ones that has a challenge mode for water limit as well. In the detached house. Cards on the table. We live at the old house of Esther DeAth, the eccentric actress who played the Wicked Witch in that classic movie, and vanished mysteriously in the national park. We know all the rumors surrounding the place, but we also know we've picked it up at an absolute bargain. We don't mind if the furniture moves around a little, that's just next level feng shui. But the grubbery exterior is really getting to us, and all the other power washers in town are too scared to set foot in our yard. If you could help us out, we'd be eternally grateful. like, if people will really pay you $650 to pressure wash their house, that probably is a one-day job, right? $600 for a day's worth of work is really good. I don't wanna act like it's... You might notice the odd, super weird, creepy sign on the outside of the house. It's nothing to worry about. Oh yeah, this? Yeah, it's nothing. Well, we start these jobs from top to bottom. According to Jenny's research, they're written in Enochian, the ancient language of the angels. Real quick, gonna pull up my language processing for Enochian. Yep. Yeah. That's not an Enochian symbol. Enochian is a constructed language that was constructed by a bunch of British gentlemen, and is its own language with its own rules and syntax, so it isn't actually something that you can just one-to-one translate easily like that. It's not like that symbol means duck or whatever, but even among like the charts I can find online that are like, here's the Enochian symbol for this syllable, that symbol is not an Enochian symbol. So a quick Google search proves that you're wrong, actually. Also, I didn't want to call attention to the fact that we jumped from one remix of Spirited Away's One Summer Day directly into a second remix of Spirited Away's One Summer Day, but I'm beginning to sense a theme with this playlist. I now understand... Well, we just finished remix number 2. I was talking over remix number 2 for most of it. I now understand why the description of this playlist is written by someone who seemingly wants you to prove that you followed them before you listen to their publicly available Spotify playlist. Because they're the kind of person who is enough of a fucking algorithm slave that they put 7 remixes of One Summer's Day from Spirited Away on the same playlist. You know Spirited Away? You know One Summer's Day? You know the Ghibli film that most Americans are most familiar with because it got syndication on Toonami? Not a single track from Pom Poko in this joint. Can't have a fucking nutsack. We can't have nutsack music. No. No Pom Poko. Fucking, you will listen to Spirited Away. You will go to my bathhouse. You will wash my no face. I feel a little insane. I'm at a cracking point. I don't know how many more of these songs I can take. I'm going to, here's what we'll do, because I know for a fact that there's at least an hour of this playlist left. But we'll stop at the next good song, so that we can stop together and we'll listen to that song together. Because right now it's just, we have devolved into like nigh on public domain levels of lo-fi. Just not goodness. Yeah, you know, everyone knows about Spirited Away, the film Spirited Away, where people get spirited away in the movie Spirited Away. But no one wants to talk about Pom Poko, the movie where a bunch of Tanukis use their fat fucking nuts to achieve what they want. I don't actually know what happens in Pompoko. I know it's an environmentalist movie about the encroachment of humans onto Tanuki territory, but I don't want to make any statements because I haven't actually seen it. But, you know, no one wants to fucking talk about fucking fat fucking nuts. You know, but everyone's like, oh, I love Spirited Away. It was so pretty, so beautiful. No one wants to talk about the Fat Fucking Balls movie, though. What's up with that, huh? They call them raccoons in every English translation. Raccoons that have bags. They're just bags, don't worry about it. This is pretty alright. The album art for this song is Are You Lost by Parkbird, apparently. And the album art for it is quite literally just a 30 pixel by 30 pixel little bird. I can't tell if they're using an arpeggiator program for that piano fill or if they arranged that piano fill themselves. This is alright, bud. This is the arpeggiator police. Ease off the arpeggiator. We're begging you. This is the fucking lo-fi cops, no more. Now we're just bass sweeping. I don't know if you earned this. I don't know if you earned that incredibly long break either. This song feels like a song that wanted to be a lot longer than 2 minutes and 47 seconds, but the person who was writing it didn't want to actually make a song that long. Like, that break right there, we went to dead silence and then we came back to a piano fill. If I wasn't watching the progress bar on my music player, I would have assumed we're in a different song. Now, if this game wanted to have ultimate annoying verisimilitude, it'd have all the grime run down the top of this roof into that gutter, so you then had to blast all of that shit out of the gutter, and then you would once again run into that sort of spoon in the sink problem where you're just fucking absolutely chucking pieces of wood directly into your face. Like, I honestly wish that this game had a little bit more detailed particles for, like, it could tell when you were passing your power washer over some lichen, and it would throw off, like, a couple of chunks of lichen in that stream of water. That's meant to literally be like, oh yeah, no, you're blasting off big old pieces of the moss. Because that's a visual. Because I'll be honest, after I play this game a lot, I will then go out and watch videos of people doing real power washing for fun. That's a visual that you see a lot in those videos, is the lichen kind of jumping up into like a big swirly cloud when the water hits it. That's not happening here. Like when you get lichen to detach from wood, it's a pretty incredible goddamn sight, I must say. Usually the wood underneath will just straight up be a different color than the wood around it. Because lichen, half the time, will end up preserving whatever the fuck it's growing on for some reason. If you've never seen a freshly planed 2x4, you're missing out. Like when you have an old gunky brown 2x4 and you take a microplane. Like, I know that at this point we have evolved fully into Home Depot satisfying moments, but think about it. The noise, the big old ribbon, The wet wood isn't like wet enough that it's like soggy to get off, but it's just wet enough the microplane just glides through it like butter. Yeah. That's the kind of plank I want you to imagine right now. Well, I think I missed a couple spots on the roof personally. If the game wants to give that to me, who am I to disagree? Not a lichen on this roof. It must be liking the taste of these roof tiles. Oh, wow, wow, wow. See, this is another one of those situations where, like, I would love to use the green nozzle, but the green nozzle is just slow enough to get lichen up that I end up leaving, like, huge, barely visible chunks of the stuff behind. And, like, those little yellow bits that you can see, if I don't pay special attention to them, those add up into an incomplete clean. And then I just have to run around for 20 minutes at the end of a level just hosing stuff down with the heavy-duty power washer to make sure I got every little scrap of bullshit. So the very small amount of added width from the green sprayer very rarely, especially once we get into like oily surfaces and like the stuff that the professional grade power washers are required for, like it gets rough. The green nozzle just becomes fucking useless. Also, this song's pretty normal and generic. I would say the most interesting part about it is that it's called King of Noobs. That's a pretty interesting name for a song. But I fail to see how it's relevant, because it's not like they remixed, like, the noob theme of an MMO or something. Like, King of Noobs is the kind of song that I would expect, like, you've done a lo-fi remix of, like, the Lumbridge theme from RuneScape. Or no, a trap remix of the Lumbridge theme from RuneScape. Which is what I will be immediately looking up the second this stream is over. With my luck, it's gonna be, like, a fucking orchestra cover that's just been fucking mislabeled. Also, this song is called VTuber Vibes. So I guess this is the official vibe of this stream, everybody. I mean, it's a pretty good vibe, yeah, like it's the kind of chill vibe that I like, but it's one of those songs where if I heard it play on a lo-fi radio, I wouldn't be able to pick it out from any other lo-fi song. And like, for me, the real lo-fi hip-hop club bangers are the ones where like they have a sample in them so prominently that I can find them years later just by Googling like lo-fi song with sample in it, you know? Like they'll sample a specific like obscure monologue from Adventure Time. Like, yeah, it's a lo-fi trademark, but I'm talking like the lo-fi where they don't go for like the really generic ones where it's just like Jake the dog from Adventure Time screaming mathematical. I'm talking like, as I sat on the sofa just now, I heard a strange sigh-like sound. Spooky. Yeah, no, I'm talking about like the lo-fi songs where like an Adventure Time character is like, I just sat on the couch right now, and it made a squeaking noise. Time to fight the dragon. And then they hit like the sickest fucking club drop in the world that leads into like a ukulele pick. That's the kind of lo-fi that's memorable to me, you know? Yeah, like lo-fi where they have the Ice King say something sad is kind of boring to me. Lo-fi where they have the Ice King say something weird is interesting to me. Like the lo-fi that I think is kind of generic is, in fact, like Angler says, the lo-fi where it's like, I'm lonely because I can't catch a princess. If you want to be cool, if you want to make cool lo-fi, in my opinion, you have to immediately follow that up with Ice King, like, going like, psych! And then immediately your lo-fi turns into like a Macarena remix for a little bit. And then your lo-fi is actually about how Ice King is a Sigma who doesn't need hoes. Like, I don't like lo-fi that's sad about how you can't get bitches. I like lo-fi that is unapologetically, like, I hate the whole alpha male, sigma male. Like, I think those terms are awful. I think they do damage to people's fucking minds. I think they are not good. However, in terms of lo-fi vibes, I prefer lo-fi music that's catering to to fucking sigma male badasses, rather than the lo-fi that's catering to incels who are bitchless. This is Feather by Nuja. They re-remixed the lo-fi song. This song is apparently Water by Omarr. I don't know if it's pronounced Omar or if this is one of those cases where it's an artist and it's actually pronounced Squandonglis. You know? So we're at the point where we are actually coming to the end of the playlist, and I'm going to, when we get to the end of this song, I am going to remix the playlist so that we will have actually played basically all of this playlist in order, well, in the shuffle order, and we will end it with the song that is actually worthy of ending this stream on. So the first song that's gonna play is the song that I would end the stream on if I was going by my criteria of a normal song, like a good song that I would listen to, you know? Like this is, the song after this one is gonna be, you know, the bookend that I would say the stream is over at. And then there's gonna be one song after that that's gonna play, and that's gonna be the song that I think this stream has actually earned ending on. Because, you know, I think over time streams kind of take on a mind of their own. You know, this was once again one of my lo-fi beats to Fwish 2 streams, but it's turned into anime and discussions of Sigma male lo-fi. So here is normally what I would actually end the stream on, and I'm just gonna leave you all with this while we look at the sky and enjoy.